Good. All right, good evening. How is everyone doing? We're going to continue our message. I can't live like this. I can't live like this. And what many of us have to understand that we're still living with the sin nature because we are not dead to ourselves. And when you are not dead to yourself, the law still has a part in your life. We're going to be in Romans chapter 7 as we discuss this particular part of the Revelation because I think uh, growing up in church, many of us been to ministry that they never really preached on sin. And so when they never preached on it, it causes us to overlook the way we live our life and the way we ascertain or our mindset towards something. But if we're going to truly begin to operate in sonship, uh, we got to understand that we cannot overlook things that shows our character is still flawed. When you go to Romans chapter 7, uh, Paul begins to expose the weakness of the law. Okay. Is it chapter 7? Nope, that ain't chapter 7. We'll go to chapter 7. Yeah, it is chapter 7. Chapter Yeah, yeah, I'm right. So he began to expose the weakness of. He already told us that we can't continue to live in sin if we're dead to Christ. But some of us we consider ourselves dead, but yet we still live to sin. So here he's showing how great God's grace is when compared to the law. Romans 7 and 1 says, or do you not know, brother? For I speak to those who know the law, that the law has dominion over a man as long as he lives. For the woman who has a husband is bound by the law to her husband as long as he lives. But if the husband dies, she is released from the law of her husband. So then, if while her husband lives, she marries another man, she will be called an adulteress. But if her husband dies, she is free from the law, so that she is no adulteress, though she has married another man. So here, Paul, what he does, he takes the revelation of the law and grace, and he compares it to a marriage. He compares it to a woman and her husband, and he talks about the woman where the husband lived. And, excuse me. And what happened is the husband dies. What we fail to see that many of us will claim that we married to Christ, okay, but yet we indulge in everything that's not Christ-like. So what he's saying, basically, if you don't have no, what's the word what's the word I'm looking for? No patience, or if you have no boundaries, then how can you consider yourself married to Christ? And what I mean by that often talks about that stronghold or that bondage that many of us are entrapped to. How do we allow it to operate in us and through us? See, if we want to cuss somebody out, do we go and cuss them out? If we want to sleep around, do we go and pull our pants down? He's saying that spiritually, because we have given ourselves to God, we can't do things naturally that affects us spiritually. And that's what happens to many of us. We go off of how the flesh got us feeling, and we don't understand it's spiritually killing us. So here he says, if the husband died, see, when you call yourself married to God, he doesn't die. So you're never free. And what many of us uh, uh, do, we want to have a free life, but married. I go back to some of the marriages things that I look at. I'm looking at a married woman go on a cruise and sleep around on the cruise with a bestie. I'm looking at a woman that go out of town married and meeting up and going to the shooting range and messing around with a boyfriend. I'm talking about friends that know friends and you sleeping around with their husbands. See, you under you getting judged because you under law because your husband haven't died. And what many of us, we trying to make ourselves dead to God, but we living our life free in the natural. See, it ain't nothing wrong with taking your shot after work. You want to go on over to happy hour. What makes it wrong when you can't make it home? What makes it wrong when you get all moist? What make it wrong when you got to call somebody else because you've been drinking that Henny? That Henny make you want to sing. So what's wrong with us? We are allowing ourselves to be condemned and convicted by God because we trying to live in a world that we ain't ready to live for. It says, for when we were in the flesh, the sinful passions which was aroused by the law were at work in our members to bear fruit to death. So Paul goes in, say, hey, we don't supposed to be living by a sinful passion. See, you don't supposed to be getting a woody every time you see a woman. You don't supposed to be getting moist every time you see some man take off his shirt and looking at his gray sweatpants. We still bearing death fruit. Hold on. Yeah, I added to it a drink. Oh, okay. Yeah, for him to give him something to eat. See, what we feel at is that we still want to dabble in things that we know will cause our flesh to react, and we think we can handle it. Right? We think we deliver from it. But what happens, that's farther from the truth. And what happens is that okay, I ain't get something in money. So what happens is that we think we so much into God and we hang around things that garner our worldly or make our worldly desires come true, and we think it's nothing wrong if we do it this time. Yeah, we say this time. But what happened is you keep going back. See that law still working you. The law that says I gotta have a woman, I gotta have a man, I gotta have a drink, I gotta have a smoke, I gotta lie, I gotta masturbate. Oh, yeah, you've been masturbating and you trying to fool me. Uh-huh. Yeah. Uh-huh. Well, we got you now. Yeah. 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 See, you know what I like about God? He allows us to think we get away with something until he surprises us. You didn't get away with that. So what happens is we still bearing dead fruit while proclaiming we working for God. Verse 6 says, but now we have been delivered from the law, having to die to what we were held by, so that we should serve in the newness of the spirit and not in the oldness of the letter. See, Paul says we've been delivered from the law. See, what is this? I, I honestly think, because I'm getting a new revelation, but I honestly think the reason the law has so many of us bound is that we sneaking with the law. And we don't want to be honest that we vulnerable in certain areas. So we get on TikTok, we get on live stream, and we just are teaching like we ain't creeping. See, the law got you. Because any sin that we do, when we hide it, what we're doing, we're denying the work of the cross. Basically saying, what Christ did on earth wasn't enough because I'm still ashamed to tell people I'm a whore. See, we have to be honest this season. Then you can serve in the newness of the spirit. See, our freedom is not giving up so we can stop serving God, but so we can serve him better. But a lot of us, we don't serve him better. We serve him under a spirit of a, 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 a numinous spirit. Hold on, y'all. And that's what's wrong with us. We fail to we fail to really give our lives to God. And what happened is we fool other people. And when we fool other people, what we're doing, we're making the work of the cross of none effect. Cause see, a lot of time, a lot of time, I think what's wrong is that we too embarrassed to say how weak we really is in certain areas. And if we never, uh, oh, people be bothering me, but it's important. Got to get that money. I got to have it done. Get away. That away. The problem is that if we can't be honest with ourselves, how can we honestly say we speaking for God? Because I'm just looking at things that's transpiring and telling y'all when stuff don't go your way, don't take it out on the children, don't take it out on your husband, don't take it out on your wife. And guess what y'all do? You still do it. What is it that brings us to a point that we don't want to follow the instructions of God? What is it? He give you what you want. He give you out of trouble. But the problem is we don't want to do what he tell us to do. So when you look at your relationship and you think about how good God been to you, can you honestly say that you're serving God as best as you can? See, what I notice about certain people, fear only motivates you to serve God. You should serve God out of love. Why God got to threaten you, or why God got to do things that put you in a mindset of being scared for you to finally do what He tell you to do? We need some help now because we can't keep living like this. So, serving God is only hard when He asks you to do something you don't want to do. That's when it get hard. But as long as God answering your prayers, giving you what you need, or giving or whatever, God's so good. But let the car break down. Let the children go. Let let something that you wanted to happen did happen. Now with God, what's your mind? God, why does always happen to me? But days ago, He was a good God. A week ago, God don't play about me. You ain't got no relationship. That's just like a marriage. If your wife or husband only good when you get everything you want, and the minute they don't do something, boyfriend and girlfriend, y'all know how y'all doing that. They're sneaking links. Then all hell break loose. Why is he even a good God then? So we want to live in a way that our total life represent God You will have to deal with that anger issue. You will have to deal with that manipulation. You will have to deal with that selfishness, that greed, that come. Man, I stopped in New Orleans. Man, I got some Popeye chicken in New Orleans. I don't know what they put in their seasoning. I ain't never tasted that. My mouth still hot. So what in the stuff I've been having everywhere else? He said, oh, it's New Orleans where it started. They got the real deal. But watch this. I go in there to get me some chicken. The young girl was at the thing. I just know my spirit. When I say something jokingly to somebody, I know I'm getting ready to bless them, but I don't know why. So I said, well, what come with that $6 special? Any kind of chicken you want? That's okay, guys. I take a breast of the thigh and this. And she was looking down. So she said, it's $7.38. I said, let me borrow $7. Oh, yeah. I said, let me borrow $7. You $7? I need much of my medicine. I ain't got $7, mister. I said, okay. Y'all know how I get sometimes. I'm just reaching in my pocket to pull out my money. And she looking. I said, huh, put this in your pocket. And she looked. Are you for real? I said, yeah, put that in your pocket. I said, huh, pay for my meal with this. That girl jumped up in front of that counter. I guess she had to tell her boss so they didn't think she's sitting. She said, look what he just gave me. Look what he just took. But I walked out because, oh, uh, but the man was behind me. I left something out. She said, you for real? I said, yeah, you a child of God. I said, sometimes God got to answer your prayers unexpectedly is what I told her. Then I walked off and the man who was behind me, he looking at the whole thing, he just looking and smiling. I said, yeah. I said, sometimes you got to show people God for real, especially when you here. He just went to smile. See, watch this. I don't remember when I wasn't getting over that. When did I die? It was never $40. It was never $40. But it's the fact of the matter that at that instant, she probably was saying, God, how am I gonna get the money? See, I'm just speculating that. Because you know how some of y'all work at the fast food place and you know, y'all work in that restaurant, you put a little here and put a little, we all did it before. I didn't did it, so it is what it is. But watch this. I remember a time you just didn't, if you was a woman, you just didn't get no money from me. You had to work for it as a kiss the girl. But to see that young lady happy, that made my whole day. But watch this. This why some of y'all got to be delivered. Suppose I walked in there with an attitude. Suppose I walked in there mad. Suppose I walked in there and somebody said something to me. See, the reason we got to deal with your character, a lot of y'all missing instructions from God because you stay in your flesh too much. Your attitude nasty. Yeah. You just gonna your whole persona nasty. Cause I don't know what it is with you that some of you, when something happens and don't go your way, you stay mad the whole dang day. The whole day. Then you want to cuss out the children. You want to snap at the wife. You want to snap at the husband. You want to talk smart to your parents. You have a problem with people who say they hear God, but you mad all day. You be mad all day. See, if you're gonna serve God in a new spirit, you let you have 5 or 10 minutes. But some of y'all go on for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. And then you don't listen to the word because some of you still go to bed angry. The Bible said don't go to bed angry. You want to sleep on the couch. So the women that they ain't gonna, it's very rare a woman gonna have to bed. You have to go get on that couch. But watch this. As a man, stop getting on the couch. Just turn opposite and make sure your butt touching her butt. You don't get out that bed. See, some of y'all got out that bed and that rose and took your place, but I'm gonna leave that one alone. Yeah, that rose and took your place. Uh-huh. What shall we say then? Is the law sin? See, what Paul was trying to prove, because they seen if we didn't follow the law, they thought the law was sinful. They think something wrong with it. But the law was a plumb line to let us know that we were wrong. As he goes on, he says, certainly not. On the contrary, I would not have known sin except through the law, for I would not have known covetousness unless the law had said, you shall not covet. So watch this. What should he say? Adam and Eve made a mistake. You know why? How would they know what they did was sin if God didn't allow them to be introduced to sin? See why it's here. Satan fell, took some of the angels with him, all right? But Satan, it wasn't jealousy, it was covetousness. Now watch this. It was he was coveting what he seen them do to God. Some say he was coveting Adam because all the power God gave Adam. Watch this. So when God showed or told Adam and Eve about that tree, don't you understand? He was introducing them to a spirit of coveting. Now watch this. They didn't try to covet it, but guess who introduced them to it? Satan. When he got up to look at that tree, guess what? She wanted to covet what was in it. So, so what many of us got to understand, the reason we ain't got the power we need is because we won't let the X-ray examine us. We won't let the X-ray examine us. See, when you go to X-ray, sometimes they put that lead thing on. Right? Y'all going in there with aluminum foil around your inside. See, that's why when somebody say something to you and they hit a nerve, you get defensive real quick. You say that ain't true real quick. The X-ray machine already got you. But because you don't want to be honest about your shortcut, about your downfall, about your fault, what you do, you try to turn the X-ray machine around, but you don't know how to operate. You don't know how to operate. So we got to look at our life And you really got to dig in to what you know you have. God, how do I get rid of this? Because a lot of us, we can't hear God's voice clearly when our sin get our ears stopped up.